Hello, it's Saturday. Hope you're having a good weekend. Saturday, May the 2nd. Our lesson today, with God's help, you'll succeed, comes out of our devotional, the word for you today. Psalm chapter 73, verse 26. We've been in Psalms all week, haven't we? Psalm chapter 73, verse 26 says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." The writer of this psalm is Asaph. Asaph was a worship leader assigned by King David to lead in worship. 1 Chronicles chapter 16 tells of David assigning Asaph as the chief worship leader, if you want to read more about that. 1 Chronicles 16. In Psalm 73, Asaph is telling how he began to envy the wicked because they seemed to prosper while the godly seemed to be suffering. Everywhere he looked, he saw the wicked ruling and the wicked doing well, while while the godly seemed to be suffering and having a rough time. But then in verses 16 and 17 of Psalm 73, he tells of entering the sanctuary of God and began to understand things from God's point of view. First part of the chapter, he talks about how the wicked seem to be enjoying life and things going their way, and the godly are just suffering. And he says, but then, and there's a turn, he says, but then I entered the sanctuary of the Lord. Basically what he was saying was, but then as I spent time with God, I began to see differently. This world is temporary, and those who are faithful to God will be rewarded beyond belief in the next world, and those who reject God will be punished beyond belief in the next world. He says, my flesh may fail. These bodies get older. Life gets more difficult because there's pain. Things don't work the way they're supposed to. But keep in mind, it's temporary. It's temporary. Eternal. Keep your mind on heaven. It'll make the things of this earth seem less important. It says, my flesh may fail, my heart may fail. I may become discouraged about the unfairness in this world. When I see the evil in the world and how wicked people do seem to prosper. My flesh may fail, my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. God is the strength of my heart. God is for me because I honor him, and he will provide for me no matter how bad life gets here on earth. My portion forever. This life is temporary, and our reward will come in the next life, and it'll be perfect forever and ever and ever. This life here on earth is so short, it's like a mist. Sometimes it seems like forever, but it's really temporary. It just seems like yesterday was Christmas, and here we are in May. This year seems to be flying by. Until we get to heaven with God, he has said that his grace will be sufficient for us here on earth. Do you believe that? That's what God said. He said, my grace is sufficient for you. But it's only sufficient for us as long as we are honoring him and serving him. So if his grace isn't sufficient, it may be that we're not following him, that we want him to do things that it's not in his will. God says, my grace is sufficient for you. Told Paul that. It applies to us as well. Life gets too hard, then you're not asking for help from the right person. One day a small boy was trying to lift a heavy stone, but he couldn't budge it. His father walked by and watched his efforts. Finally he said, are you using all your strength? Yeah, I am. The boy was exasperated and frustrated and getting upset. I'm trying with everything I got in me. I can't move this big rock. No, the father said, you're not. You haven't asked me to help you. You're not using all your strength. And sometimes we're struggling in life. We're not using all of our strength because we're not asking God for help. He said that his grace is sufficient. Do you believe that? God said it. Do you believe it? With God's help, you'll succeed. Definition of success, it differs from person to person. But the one whose definition of success we want is God's, because he has the final say. You're struggling in life, God's grace is sufficient for you. With his help, you'll succeed. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope to see you in church tomorrow.